Hey, what is up mortals? It is JessicaGem here with a new video for you. Welcome to part number 2 of What If Deku Met Ryoko. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. And so, we begin. Midoriya was surprised by the fact that someone was pointing what he assumed was a gun at him. Ryoko tried to hide herself behind Midoriya. It was an interesting sight since the girl was taller than Midoriya by a few inches. The white-haired woman spoke in a sheepish tone. "That is the evil space pirate. She must have chased me here. Please protect me, Izuku." The figure holding the gun then reacted to Ryoko's statement. "Me? A space pirate? You are the space pirate. Back away from her, sir. She is a dangerous criminal that has attacked several planets and stolen countless treasures from across the universe." Midoriya did not know what to do. He wondered if this was what they meant by being caught between a rock and a hard place. This standoff would have continued if Katsuhito Masaki had not stepped in. "How about we take things down a notch and discuss this over tea?" "Sir, I don't think you understand the danger you're in." "I understand quite well, young lady. You are an officer of the Galactic Police, and she," Katsuhito points at Ryoko, "is a wanted space pirate." The figure took the helmet off of the suit they were wearing. It turned out that Katsuhito was right. She was a girl. She had tan skin and long blonde hair. "How do you know all of that, sir?" Ryoko also shot him a questioning look. Katsuhito paused for a moment. Finally, he answered, "Because I am an old man. We know everything about such things." Ryoko was suspicious, but the blonde woman seemed happy with that explanation. The old man sent Midoriya to the kitchen to get the tea, and all four of them sat down on the couch, after the front door had been removed. The GXP officer introduced herself as Mihoshi Kuramitsu. Apparently, she was a detective in the GXP, and she had been sent to bring Ryoko in after she stole a lot of treasure from a distant planet. It was a long chase that ended in a space battle not far from Earth. It was a tense situation as Midoriya and all the others all stared at Ryoko. The white-haired woman sat drinking her tea. The intense stares of the other three did not seem to bother her in the slightest. Midoriya was the first one to break the uncomfortable silence with two questions. "Is it true, Ryoko? Are you really an intergalactic criminal?" Ryoko started to cry as she spoke with a sad tone. "You have to understand, Midoriya. Life has not been kind to me. I grew up on a poverty-ridden planet and had no hope of making a decent life for myself. Becoming an outlaw was the only way for me to get anywhere. I felt horrible about all of the crimes I committed, but I had no choice. Can you ever forgive me?" Mihoshi got very irritated at Ryoko's sob story. The other could hear the blonde girl grinding her teeth in frustration. "Don't believe her. She has years of experience manipulating people to get what she wants." The tanned woman stood up and smacked the coffee table. "Whatever her past, I have orders to arrest you and return you to GXP headquarters." Ryoko's expression remained passive as she responded. "That is going to be hard for you, considering your ship was destroyed in the battle and subsequent crash. Or am I wrong?" Mihoshi's face blushed from embarrassment. The worried woman covered her face as she spoke. "That is true. My superiors are not going to be happy when they hear this." Katsuhito spoke up at that point. "That is not the only problem you have, young lady. The planet you are on now is Earth. It is not under the jurisdiction of the GXP. While Ryoko is on this planet, you have no authority to arrest her." "What, really? That is just my luck. I am never going to hear the end of this." The old man spoke in a calm manner. "I have a solution for you both. Since you're stuck on Earth for the foreseeable future, you may both stay here. I have plenty of room, but I would ask that you two earn your keep." Ryoko got a sly look on her face. "What did you have in mind, Gramps?" "I can tell from that look on your face, young lady, that you are suggesting something inappropriate, so stop it. First off, Miss Mihoshi will fix my door. I also have several other chores that need to be seen about on the property that you can take care of for me. I would normally get Izuku to do them, but he will be busy for the next 6 months preparing for his high school entrance exams. The blonde girl perked up at that. Okay, thank you so much, sir. Midoriya knew the blonde girl did not know what she had just agreed to. His grandfather had worked him to the bone several times over the years, but he figured that he might go easier on Mihoshi. Much of the work had been in a form of training, but the green-haired boy still had his doubts. The gray-haired man then turned to Ryoko. And you, my dear, I think you could be a big help in my grandson's training. Ryoko looked Izuku over before responding. Really, old man? Do you think that's a good idea? I am one of the most wanted space criminals for a reason. Yes, I do. My grandson has trained in several different martial arts. I can assure you, he is far more formidable than he looks. Plus, I figure a pirate wanted throughout the galaxy should not be afraid of a little sparring with a middle school student. Ryoko was smart enough to know that the old man was baiting her. Even knowing that, the outlaw was curious. The boy was plain-looking, but there was something about him. Not like I have much of a choice. I'm at your service. Katsuhito sipped his tea before answering. Good to hear. The next day, Katsuhito had Izuku meet him in his living room. Today, we will begin your training to awaken your Jiren power. But first, I have a gift for you, grandson. The man had a long, thin box sitting on the couch next to him. Katsuhito picked up the box and handed it to his curious grandson. Izuku took the box gingerly. What is it, Grandpa? The old man smiled at the questioning teen. Open it and find out. Izuku took the lid off the box and was confused by what he saw. The object inside looked like a sword shaft. The grip looked like tree roots that ran all the way down to the handle. The pommel was rounded and had 3 jewels that glowed with an odd light. The green teen collected his thoughts. He then spoke with a quizzical tone. It's beautiful, Grandpa, but what use is a sword handle without a blade? The aged man just shook his head. You have much to learn yet, young one. Take hold of it. Izuku looked at his grandfather and saw the serious look on the old man's face, so the confused boy did as he was told. Izuku reached into the box and wrapped his fingers around the handle. The object felt strange in the green teen's grip. The weight and smoothness of the handle made him think that it was made of metal, but the appearance of the design and material looked more like wood. Suddenly, the gems on the pommel started to glow. Then, an energy blade materialized from the top of the guard. This caused the high-strung Izuku to wig out. The panicked boy screamed in surprise. Ah! What the heck? The boy quickly noticed that the handle now looked like an actual weapon. In fact, the weapon looked very familiar to the intelligent teen. It took Izuku a moment to remember. Oh, it looks like the lightsaber that Ryoko was using. Katsuhito laughed at the comparison. Well, those old movies did not get the name right, but they did get the function right. This weapon's name is Tenchi. It means Guardian of the Galaxy. It is an energy sword. Many individuals, from warriors to pirates, use them because of their flexibility in combat. Tenchi has been modified to include the 3 stones in the pommel. These will help draw out your Jiren powers. Izuku got a confused look on his face. It is really cool, Grandpa, but isn't this a little too dangerous for my purposes? I want to be a hero and save people. This sword looks like it could slice through villains like a hot knife through butter. The old man mused for a moment. Izuku, have I ever led you astray? Izuku shook his head side to side. No, sir. The gray-haired man nodded at the statement. Then trust me now. Just like quirks, Tenchi can kill, but it can also be used to defend. The green teen's eyes got a determined look. Okay, Grandpa. Teach me. Katsuhito nodded in approval. I am glad to hear that your work ethic is still intact. The UA entrance exam is 10 months away. For 2 months, I will teach you how to properly use Tenchi. That way you won't hurt yourself, or anyone else for that matter. The weapon may have a simple design, but using it properly will take some practice. Izuku nodded. Okay, then what? The wise man stroked his chin in thought. After that, I will have you practice combat with Ryoko. She should be a worthy opponent for you. No matter how much you practice your form, it matters little if you fall apart when facing a true opponent. The Emerald teen responded in a concerned tone. Yeah, about that, Grandpa. Ryoko is probably very experienced in combat. Do you think that I can take on someone like that? Yes, I do, grandson. The old man thought to himself that the keystones in Tenchi should awaken his Jiren power in 2 months. That will give Izuku about 8 months to get control of the powers that awaken. The old man and his grandson started training the next day. Katsuhito thought it would take a month of training with Tenchi for Izuku's powers to begin showing up, but they started showing up almost immediately. After only a few days, Izuku was showing signs of telekinesis and amplified strength and speed. His reflexes were also improving. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. With the services Skillshare provides, you can get access to many in-depth tutorial videos on basically anything you want to learn. Each class that they have is bound to help you with your creative endeavors. Do you want to learn how to make videos like this one? Do you want to learn how to write scripts or edit audio? Skillshare has you covered. And with our link, you can have a 14-day free trial. So what are you waiting for? Click the link now and get 14 days worth of classes free. Link in the description below. Over the 2 months, Katsuhito felt the Jiren energies growing inside of Izuku. The green-haired boy met his grandfather and Ryoko in the man's backyard. The space pirate had a bored look on her face. So, old man, why are we here? As I told you before, Ryoko, you are here to help my grandson with his training. The white-haired woman looked over the green teen. He didn't look like much. Ryoko figured there was no way he was a match for her, but she did promise. The old man had given her shelter, and the boy had been so nice to her. That was more than anyone had done for her. If this was all they were asking of her for that, then it was the least she could do. Even with all that in mind, she would not hold back. If the boy wanted to be a warrior, then it would be a disservice not to give it her all. Ryoko summoned her energy sword. The blade of the weapon appeared in the slender woman's hands, the edge glowing with a fearsome red light. At the same time, Midoriya removed his sword, Tenchi, from the sheath on the special belt that his grandfather had given him. As Izuku grabbed hold of his sword, the blade emerged from the handle and glowed a greenish blue. Ryoko dashed forward and slashed at Midoriya. The bright-eyed teen dodged at the last second by jumping back an inch. The green teen then countered by slashing downwards with his sword. The 2 energy blades met, and the air between the 2 fighters crackled with energy. Ryoko was surprised that Midoriya was able to dodge her attack. The white-haired combatant did not see this coming. This action told her that this boy was not normal. Midoriya broke the hold by using his newly acquired telekinesis. While his push was still weak, he was able to knock the space pirate back about a foot. Midoriya then rushed forward and unleashed a barrage of slashes against Ryoko. If she had been anyone else, the slashes would have overtaken her. But Ryoko was an experienced energy blade fighter. Midoriya was talented, but his lack of experience with his blade was obvious. Ryoko used her greater fighting skills to disarm Midoriya. His sword went flying over to the edge of the yard. The fierce girl ended the match by knocking Midoriya off his feet and placing her blade about a millimeter away from the boy's throat. Katsuhito clapped his hands together. This caused a crisp and loud crack to reverberate throughout the yard. That is enough, Ryoko. This is training, not a death match. Ryoko held the blade at Midoriya's throat. The fierce girl's eyes were full of killer instinct, but the sound of the old man's calm voice brought her out of her rage. Ryoko took a deep breath as she removed her blade away from Midoriya. Okay, old man. The space pirate spoke to Midoriya without turning around. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to go all out. Midoriya got to his feet. It's all right, Ryoko. I'm sure you're not used to this kind of training. You're probably used to fighting to the death. Just try not to kill me, okay? Ryoko was touched by this boy's understanding. She had never been treated with so much kindness. This made the white-haired girl wonder what his angle was. That was a good first round. Take 5 minutes, both of you. We will start again shortly. Midoriya took the moment to stretch out his muscles for the next round. Tell me, Midoriya, why are you doing this? I'm training to get stronger. I get that, but why? I mean, what are you trying to conquer? I am training to become a hero. Ryoko got a confused look on her face. A hero? What is that? Is that like a police officer or something? Midoriya then explained the superhuman society and the hero profession. Even though the green teen went into a ramble, Ryoko never asked him to slow down or stop. When the greenette finished, Ryoko thought about all of this for several minutes. So, you're trying to say that people with powers take it upon themselves to protect others without getting anything out of it? That sounds fishy to me. Well, I will admit that many of them do it for money, but my goal is to protect people like All Might. He is the greatest hero who has ever lived. This sent the young man into an epic rant. Ryoko found the boy's answer interesting. She was moved by his honesty. The boy seemed to have no ulterior motives. He just wanted to protect the people of this world. The old man signaled for both of them to begin sparring again. Ryoko decided she would help Midoriya reach his goal. She had never met someone like him before. The white-haired girl wanted to see what he became. And so the next 6 months flew by. Every other day, Midoriya and Ryoko would spar. As the training progressed, Midoriya's powers grew stronger and he gained more control. During the final months, Midoriya was able to match Ryoko in terms of strength and skill. The two warriors grew closer because of all the time they spent together, but Midoriya was concerned about what Ryoko was doing on his days off. Finally, the day of the UA entrance exam came. Midoriya grew nervous as he walked on the UA campus. This was the day he had trained for over the last 10 years. All of his hard work came down to this exam. That pressure was enough to make anyone worry, but the teen was going to do his best. Midoriya was so lost in thought that he didn't notice a small crack in the sidewalk. This small impediment caused the distracted teen to trip and fall toward the ground face first. The boy would have tasted pavement if he had not been caught from behind. The unseen person helped Midoriya back to his feet. The boy turned around to thank his savior, only to be shocked by who he saw. Midoriya responded to the sight in a frantic tone. "Ryoko! What are you doing here?" The white-haired girl got a hurt look on her face. "That is some kind of thank you, Midoriya. You think you would be more grateful that a beautiful girl saved you from kissing the sidewalk." As Midoriya thought through his response, he noticed that Ryoko was wearing a middle school uniform. While the teen was still confused, he couldn't help but think the uniform looked pretty cute on her. "Sorry about that. Thank you, Ryoko. But really, what are you doing here? And what's with the school uniform?" "Well, I came to take the UA entrance exam. Why else would I be here?" "But there was a lot of paperwork and forms I had to fill out to take this test. Plus, how did you get the school records needed? And where did you get the uniform?" Ryoko gave Midoriya a sly look. "Have you already forgotten, Midoriya? I was a space pirate. Getting the necessary documents was easy for me." Midoriya did not know how she had done it, but he knew she had probably done it through less than legal means. "You still did not tell me where you got the uniform." Ryoko smiled at the boy. "I figured it would complete the disguise. Are you telling me there's something wrong with it?" Midoriya got a mild blush on his face. "Well, I didn't say that. In fact, the uniform looks really cute on you." The teen did not know what made him say that. Ryoko kind of had that effect on him. "I knew you cared, Midoriya." The two got so caught up in their conversation that they didn't see Bakugo approaching from behind. The bombastic teen spoke to the two in his usual gruff tone. "Hey, you two, get out of the way!" The blonde walked between the two without stopping. This action jarred Midoriya. The teen remembered why he had come. He was still worried about how Ryoko got permission to take the test, but he would worry about that later. "Well, let's get inside." "Sounds like a plan." The two entered a giant auditorium. The whole place was filled with middle school students who had come to take the entrance exam. On the stage in the center of the room was the voice hero, Present Mic. Midoriya started to fanboy out at the sight of the blonde hero. A lot of people got annoyed at Midoriya, but Ryoko thought it was cute how the boy was so passionate about heroes. Present Mike then spoke in a loud and funky tone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen! Welcome to our awesome entrance exam. Today you will be taking part in a physical exam that will test you in several areas of heroics. Present Mike then pressed a button on the lectern in front of him, and a diagram appeared behind him. Now, if you will all turn to the sheet in front of you, the exam will consist of combat against foe villains. Each one of the villains will be worth points equivalent to their level of difficulty. The bots will be placed in a combat stage. Find the bots, use your powers to smash them, and get the points. Suddenly, a tall blue-haired boy stood up and raised his hand. Sir, I have a question. Hit me! You told us that there were 3 foe villains in the exam, but the handout lists 4 villains. This is not the kind of mistake that we, as top students, can overlook from the top hero school in the country. The boy then turned towards Midoriya. And you with the unkempt hair, quit your mumbling and take this seriously. You are a distraction to everyone else. Mike waved the boy down. Thank you for your observation. That 4th villain is worth 0 points. You could fight it, but there is really no point. It is more an obstacle that we put in to get in your way. Your best bet is to avoid it at all costs. Most of the test takers thought the test was a lot like a video game, but Ryoko was more concerned with the fact that she and Midoriya would be in different testing fields. She was really looking forward to fighting alongside the Greenette, but she would have to beat this test alone. With all the explanation done, the students went to get changed and met outside of their testing fields. Midoriya stood outside of a fake city. The teen wondered how much money it took to build something like that. The anxious teen stood stretching and preparing mentally for the test ahead. As he did so, he noticed a tall blonde girl wearing red goggles, a pair of high-tech gloves on her arms, and equally impressive shoes on her feet. While the other test takers did have gear of their own, the girls impressed him the most. Midoriya quickly refocused his attention on the task at hand. It was then that the gates to the cityscape opened, and Present Mike shouted at the top of his lungs, Go, go, go! There are no start signals in real battle! Get moving! With that, Midoriya and everyone else took off running. The UA entrance exam had begun. Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video, so farewell and have a divine day.